Welcome to Becoming the Goddaughter, the channel of all channels on this here YouTube. We are a small but mighty group of 10 subscribers right now. Thank you very much for those of you who have joined the journey. I have no idea who you are because YouTube enjoys privacy, which I enjoy. So to whoever you are, thank you. Now, let us begin with what you came here for. And we welcome with open arms whoever else decides to join us along the way. I want to set the seed, plant a seed, remind those of you who have watched the Godfather trilogy of a very simple yet very potent seedling from the late, great Vito Corleone. This was a man who longed for nothing more than for freedom for his family, a legitimate business, and the ability to use his power for good. This desire was passed down to Michael, to which Michael tried his best to complete. And yet, what we are left with at the end of Godfather 3 is a man in complete despair, hunched over his own daughter, slain from a bullet that was meant for him. In that moment, we, the viewer, whether you're a parent or not, the pain felt undeniable. It then fast forward to an elderly Michael sitting alone in a chair, an orange falling for the final time. It is where that film ends that the Goddaughter begins. And it begins with a dream. Yes, it starts with a dream. I am just going to note one thing. I don't know where to look on my camera so that it looks like I'm looking at you. So I'm going to look to the left. I'm on a horizontal frame. The YouTube is new to me. So this is only going to get better with time. We are growing together. Just noting that. I'm not reading anything. This is all in the moment. Anyways, I'm going to go with this. I'm looking here. It begins with a dream. A true dream, a conscious dream, as well as a subconscious, perhaps unconscious dream. The Goddaughter begins with the vision of a woman picking up the fallen orange that Michael released from his hands. This is representing a true dream from the dream state of the Goddaughter's consciousness. She has had these visions her whole life. Now, who is the Goddaughter, you may ask? Well, when Mary fell on those steps that day, her brother, Anthony, had enough of his father, enough of the business, enough of the life that he inherited without conscious choice. He excommunicated himself from this family, to which his father could not argue. Anthony moved to a safer state, mentally and physically, to Connecticut. His mother, Kay, followed him, and there was one more tag-along. This was the final request of Michael, to which Anthony accepted. A long-term friend from the war days was sent to follow Anthony for protection in his anonymity. Anonymity. We'll Google that word later. This man had a wife, similar age to Michael, and what was not prescribed on the protection list was to fall in love with the protector's daughter. Anthony did fall in love, and a child was born under an alias. Via Carletti grew up in a normal life away from the bounded shadow of the past. But of course, one day, the truth always becomes known. The logline of the movie is this: a dynamic woman, initially unaware of her powerful bloodline, rises to power herself amidst a painful yet fated journey of self-discovery and Corleone family history, arming her with the unquenchable will to create a different way forward for all. Now, if you're like me, you might believe in reincarnation. You might believe that we are souls and bodies. Nonetheless, I am here to offer an artistic note that Via, full name Viana, which means alive, by the way, is in fact Vito reincarnated. Let that simmer. Let it simmer. I'm the creator. I'm allowed to do these things. There's another aspect of this layered idea of a dream. There is a song called The Impossible Dream that is the invisible through line of this entire film. The film opens with this song playing. There is a version that exists. Well, there are many versions that exist, but Frank Sinatra's version is how this film actually found me first. But for the purposes of The Goddaughter, this film, my new friend Gavin DeGraw has already given me a verbal that he will do this once this movie is at a point in time where it can be made. Stay tuned on that. The Impossible Dream. This song opens the film with the orange toss. It comes back in the middle of the film. At this point in time, much has happened. We can't reveal all today. Much has happened. Via has reunited with her family of origin. She has left her job as a school counselor because of a catastrophic situation where a student almost injured her and many others that day. This film is set in 2012, paralleling the tragedy of Sandy Hook. Let that sink in too. Via is at a state in the middle of this film where she has gained parts of herself back. She's found love. She has 2 children. She's been brought back into the family business. Because yes, my friends, all living original characters must be revived. I cannot force the free will of these individuals to join me. However, I'm going to speak to you as I've seen the scenes. We have Al Pacino. We have Andy Garcia. We have the others. I will tell you Who I have seen in my visions for this film to play the goddaughter is Jennifer Lawrence. It is subject to change, of course, but that is who presented herself to me as I've received the scenes for this movie. Getting back to the midway point. The impossible dream begins to play again as a forlorn, exhausted, and hallucinogenic, we'll say, Jennifer Lawrence is laying upon her bed post-family intervention, the entire family. Because what has happened to this once dynamic, strong woman is she ignored the trauma of losing her mother at a young age. We'll get into that in another YouTube. You have to come back for that. You have to come back. She had 2 children and didn't tend to her postpartum needs. She didn't take a beat to process with a therapist or friends or anybody the realization that she's actually connected to one of the most prolific families of all time. Not only connected, but now the torchbearer for the future. She started taking Adderall, prescribed to her, of course, and that made it easy to think it was okay. She started sensing that there were powers behind her family of origin that were pulling the strings to the Corleone empire as it stood prior to her merging with it. She could not prove these things, but she had a feeling, and her feeling was noticed by other members of that family, of her family. So in her demise, she's received that dream she's seen since she was a little girl, that orange that she never understood. Who is this person in my dream? Why do I keep dreaming this? But on her bed that day, she sees more than the orange being tossed. She sees that she truly is able to move the family forward. But first, she has to deal with her own shit. We fast forward to near the finale of the movie, where this is post her having a hit on her life, by the way. Come back for that. I'm going to go chapter by chapter, scene by scene in this series. This is just the beginning. I'm just giving you some hints of the drama. She is about to hit the stage for a rally, a new way forward for education, a foundation that she created with her cousin, Vincent, with the blessing of Michael, with friends and allies that she merged with them. But as she's walking up to that stage, she knows there's a chance that another hit might be made. But what she does instead is to trust the vision that she received from the music, from the impossible dream, that she will outlive any attempt on her life, because that's what was shown to her through the music, in the body, through feeling. Memories from the future. So as she walks up to that stage and gives her cousin a kiss on the cheek, a kiss of life, knowing that he sold her out, not by his own choice, but because of who really is in charge. She walks up to that podium and she says, I believe in America, but not as we stand. Godfather begins with how the Goddaughter ends. But there's a different tune to the words being spoken. Editor's note, creator's note. I have been told that you really should write what you know and then add some stank to it, zhuzh it up a bit. Of course, I was a school counselor before I became a licensed therapist, creative consultant. Of course, I had my own run-in with overperformance, ignoring trauma. Of course, the impossible dream found me before I knew what it all meant. I am a sum of all of my worldly experiences. And what are we supposed to do in this day and age other than tell the truth and to keep showing up and moving forward? We will get into many script elements, aspects of this story, and synchronicities, failures, and triumphs in my own life, because I am of the belief that if we make things with unwavering, unconditional, vulnerable as fuck love, with the pure intention for it to ripple and to change things, this world will right itself. I know how to create a revival for the American education system. I know what it's like to lose your mind and come out the other side. I know that regardless of what the news is telling us, what our intrusive thoughts are telling us, what the world and these systems in place are telling us, I know that we came here with the blood in our veins and the souls in our bodies to find our way back to freedom. And we do not need anything outside of us to do that. This movie should help, though. It is important to make clear that when I, Anna Scott, surrendered to my own intervention, led by my husband, when I laid down in my bed, Frank Sinatra's Impossible Dream was lightly playing on my Alexa. In that state, I saw a woman's hand picking up an orange. I saw the stones. I saw the chair. I saw a man sitting. It confused me. It startled me. And I wished it away. Because, as I mentioned, when people get to a certain state, you start to see shit. You can't trust what's going on. So I thought I was hallucinating. So what did I do? I did what many of us do when we feel overwhelmed and confused. I went to sleep. And when I woke from that sleep, I heard the Goddaughter. I was like, what the hell is that? Okay. I got my Google machine out, as my dad calls it, and I typed in the Goddaughter into the Google. Nothing came up, but what did pop up was the Godfather. And then I was brought to this page that said something along the lines of, the paramount statement reads, while there are no imminent plans of a fourth film, it remains a possibility if the right story emerges. I was like, huh, interesting. Went back to sleep. What I'll say today is this. At that point in time, I had never seen any of the Godfather movies. I had heard of them, of course. I've quoted it, of course. It's a staple of all of our lives, this movie. It's eternal. A couple months after the intervention, I watched Godfather 1. I was like, oh, it's pretty fucking good. Watch the next one. And then I get to the third. And as I'm watching that final scene with Michael in the seat, with the orange falling, my breath was taken away. Because that is the exact scene that I saw in my bed while listening to The Impossible Dream. But what was added was this woman with blue nail polish picking up the orange and playfully tossing it. So that, my friends, is how this movie found me. And now I have chosen to carry it forward with integrity, creativity, and power. So keep coming back. I'm going to be doing episodes every Tuesday and Saturday. On Saturday, we're going to get into the first true scene of the movie in detail after the old orange toss. It's going to be amazing. You are amazing. Thank you for being here, and thank you for helping me change this planet. Okay, goodbye.